Hello, children. It's Pastor Matthew here for our Children's Praise. We're working through the Catechism. You've been learning a lot of great concepts in God's Word so that you can grow and understand God's Word, understand the Gospel, and understand who Jesus Christ is as you learn to love Him and worship Him in the church and in your families. Today we're going to look at question number 11 in the Children's Catechism. So the question number 11 goes like this. You'll see it here at the bottom of your screen. What is God's providence? Is the question. What is God's providence? It says God's providence is His completely holy, wise, and powerful, preserving and governing every creature and every action. So that's going to be an important word to understand, is this word providence. So providence is God's holy, preserving, and governing every creature and every action. So in a short version, it's how God preserves things and controls things. And when we say how He preserves and controls, we say, what's He preserving? What's He controlling? And when we're talking about God, we're talking about everything. So He's preserving and controlling everything, because He made everything. So the word that's really, really hard to learn or understand is this word providence. So try to say that out loud. Say providence. Try to say that to your teacher. See if your teacher can show you what that word means. And at the end, they'll ask you again, see if you can remember. Providence. Providence. And the other two words we use to define what providence is preserving everything and governing everything. Those are other words we don't use very much. Preserve and govern. To preserve something, do you know what that means? And do you know what it means to govern? To have government? Well, I hope to show you how it's actually very, very simple. So let's look at these blocks. You see these blocks here on the table? And I'm sure you played with these blocks before, blocks like them, or Legos. Perhaps you play with Legos a lot. Well, when we put blocks together, let's say that's what we mean when we say creation. God created the world kind of like a big house. And so if you see, I'm doing all these right now and creating a little house, right? So I just created that. That's the word create, or to build, right? So now that's different than providence. Providence is this moment right now. Providence is when everything's already made and created, and then your little brother or sister comes by and tries to knock down one of the bricks, right? But you say, no, you can't do that. I'm going to stop you from destroying this house. That's called preserve. Right? So God preserves what He made. But not only that, God keeps all the pieces the way He wants them to go. So God can come in and say, you know what, I'd like this piece to not be here, and I'd like this piece to be over here this way, and I'd like this piece to be over here this way. Right? Now God can do that with His hands, right? Like I did with my hands, because He is able to have government. Or govern, to govern. So watch, this is what the word govern means. I'm going to govern the pieces with my hands. I'm going to take them and move them and have control over them. I am governing. But then if someone else tries to come in and smack a piece down, I'm not going to let them do that. See, I'm also not going to just govern the pieces and put them where I want them to go. I'm also going to preserve the pieces and keep anyone else from touching them, right? Anyone else from destroying them. Now you know what providence means. God preserves everything, and He has the ability to govern everything, and He can move stuff the way He wants. Now, what does that mean for you and me? That means that God does that with our lives. He had you born in your family, and He had you growing up every day, and He feeds you every day, and you go to sleep every night, and you're here today watching this video because God is moving all the pieces around as you're moving around, because he's moving it in the way that he wants. He's able to govern you and me and everything else he does just like that, because he's just that powerful. So here's an amazing Bible verse for providence today. In Acts 2:22, Peter said this, "Men of Israel, hear these words. Jesus of Nazareth, a man attested to you by God with mighty works and wonders and signs that God did through him in your midst, as you yourselves know." And then he says this, "This Jesus is delivered up according to the definite plan and foreknowledge of God, you crucified and killed by the hands of lawless men. But God raised him up, losing the pains of death, because it was not possible for death to hold him." So look at that. That's an idea of providence. That is, Jesus was put on the cross because sinful men tried to murder him. But God was also moving the pieces around so that it was according to God's definite plan and purpose. But it was still a sinful action that other people chose to do. Now that's really, really mysterious, and there's a lot to say about that. But now you know at least that the word providence is just like this, a building block of houses that were made, and that we preserve them, and that we govern them, and do what we want with them. That's exactly how God is with everything. So think about that, and you can think about this the rest of your life. It only becomes even more beautiful and more mysterious, but now you know what the word providence means.